just to kick it off, one of the really easy ways you can do that is through your local street press. You know, I've been the editor at Time Off for 10 years now, and I've seen a lot of bands come and go, and those that are the most successful are the ones that get their names in there and get it in there constantly. And I guess if you're an artist just starting out, one of the simplest ways you can go about achieving that is to utilise street press in your city and all of the other press that's out there. One of the simplest ways is to capitalise on listings like the Gig Guide. Whether it be Time Off or Rave or Tsunami, all of us have gig guides that run in the magazine, and if you flip to the gig guide in the mag, it'll have the information in there right up the top in the banner, or maybe down the bottom, how to get your gigs listed. So every time you have a gig booked, you've got to get it listed in the magazine. It's just a simple thing of people seeing your name in print on a constant basis, just reinforces your brand in their mind and in the marketplace. So doing simple things like that, as soon as you get a gig, get it in the gig guide. Think of the different avenues that are out there to do that. You know, there's plenty of gig guides that are web-based now that you can utilise as well. So do a bit of research, find out, get together a bit of a media contact list. So get your gig guide listing email addresses for Time Off and Rave and Tsunami Mag, and go through some of the web places like Faster Louder and some of those, and put together a little contact list for gig guides. And every time you get a gig booked, just send them gig guide listings. All it's got to be is simple: the venue, the date, the band name, any other support bands, and the time of the gig. Maybe if you've got the cover charge on there, include that info as well. Make sure when you send those you include contact details in case the media want to get in contact with you again for any more info. The number of emails that we get sent without phone details on there is quite astounding, and it's pretty important just to do a simple thing like that. I'll talk a bit more about some of those tips for dealing with media, because there's some really important things that you've got to do with media so you basically don't piss them off, because we deal with so many bands and so many artists. If you piss us off, then we'll just start to forget about you. And I know that seems harsh, but you know, when we have the volume of artists chasing us on a weekly basis, you know, it's very demanding. So you don't need people to be wasting your time. Before we go to some of the other panelists to talk about some of the other aspects of publicity and promotion, just some other things you can do to get the name out there. We have our news section in Time Off, as all other street press do. News listings are very important as well. We have a local section which just caters for local news, and that's you know, a really important way to get recognition. If once again, there's a specific web address for it, which is just local@timeoff.com.au, or in Rave they've got specific news email addresses as well. If you have a gig, put together a little news blurb, 30 to 50 words about the gig, email it through. And the key to doing that is to look at the street press you're dealing with, look at the other press you're dealing with, and try and put it into the language that they print. Because the easier you can make our job, the more likelihood you have of getting a run. You know, sometimes people will send through a press release about a gig and it'll be 4 pages long. We're not going to read it because we don't have time to. But if you send through a simple blurb that's only 30 to 50 words, it's more than likely that we'll grab it, cut and paste it, maybe play around with the formatting a bit, change the language a touch, but that'll stand a really good chance of getting a run straight in the magazine. So when you do those sorts of things, you know, try and think, how can I work best with the magazine to get my gig or my coverage in there. So little tips like that will come up throughout the discussions today.